Retirement. Should you follow your kids? This video today, guys, is my story, my experience, based upon what I've gone through. So, I have two kids, and one of them, I'm in Ontario, and one of them ended up marrying a U.S. girl and lives in Michigan. But one is still in Ontario with me, so I won't really get into the locations too much. But anyways, I still was working and didn't have the ability to retire early and relocate, so I knew I had to stay close. But one of my kids had moved quite a ways away, and my wife and I had talked about what we should do, and we had found a nice rural farm property up near where my daughter had moved, and we were seriously considering it and thinking, okay, well, if I've got X amount of years left at my job, instead of having only 20-minute travel time, I will have an hour and a half travel time, and then my wife would have to leave her job and look for another job in that new area. And we thought about it, and things just didn't work out that way, and that was fine. Everything was fine with that. Well, wouldn't you know that within 6 months to a year after we had thought about moving to this new place, my daughter ends up relocating because it's too far away from a lot of stuff. She ends up relocating an hour closer. So if I had moved in order to be closer to my daughter, she would have been 6 months or a year later gone closer back down to the city, her friends, and then I would have been stuck up there. And the same thing with my son. My son, they had moved to one area and then had planned on making roots there, and then life circumstances changed and they ended up moving another 3 hours away. And we had already planned on maybe buying somewhere in the middle that would be close to either one of them, so it would be like halfway in the middle of each of them. And then he ended up moving 3 hours. And on top of that, again, we had made some plans. Okay, if my son is 6 hours away, maybe we'll move closer to my daughter since she moved down closer to the city again. Well, just recently, she and her husband, due to a lot of different circumstances, is now moving to a different province altogether. So I remember sitting down when some of the stuff was going on and talking to my dad about this, who had gone through some similar stuff. And he gave me the sage advice, and it was, you can't follow your kids. You have to let your kids do what they got to do, and you have to let them, take the paths they want to take. And once they start to set down some roots somewhere, then maybe you can do something. But as a previous video I talked about, in retirement, you need to be focusing on the happiness between you and your spouse, and what makes you feel good, and where you want to be. And yeah, you can make visits to your adult children and your grandkids sort of stuff, but you can't control what other people do, and you can't control the situations that affect their life and their decisions. You can only control what you can control. And that's why it's so important that you do not chase your kids. We had this discussion with my buddies at work. One of my friends, his daughter picked up and moved from Ontario, Canada, all the way to the UK. So now what do? Are you going to sell everything here and move to the UK to chase them? And then what if a job opportunity comes up in Australia? Are you going to follow them to Australia? So that was a life lesson that we learned. In retirement, you need to let your kids do what you got to do, but this is your time. This is your time to pursue your hobbies, to do the traveling that you want to do while you still can. So again, just a short video about what I experienced in my life with my adult children and moving, and whether chasing your children around the globe is something that you should be doing. And the summary is, no, you shouldn't be. You should be living your life and then visiting them as often as you can. Be in their lives as much as you possibly can, but you need to live your life. So anyways, I hope that helps, guys. If you liked it, press the like button, subscribe, leave some comments down below, and we'll catch you on the next video in this retirement series. Take care.